The final stretch going into Munich felt like victory. Here we were on the famous Autobahn with little old Percy, all our kits still piled high, just bombing it down there, music cranking.
Suddenly, Percy turned the corner, and suddenly I realized, damn, man, there's my car. It's made it. I'm so damn proud of you, man.
I think at that point, I suddenly realized that, we had done something quite special.
That was magic, man. That was great.
That's how we do adventure.
Mike's like a second father to me, and yeah, he's really helped out a lot. He was a test pilot and actually flew in the Air Force with my father, but was in a serious accident in 1990.
One of the things I noticed first when I came out of hospital was, how the hell do I get around? I need to get a car. It was the thing, in a way, that gave me my freedom back more than anything else after my accident.
Percy essentially provided Mike with the opportunity to regain his vigor for life.
I had it a long time, It was 24 years, and eventually, I can't keep this car forever, at 400,000 Ks.
I'm like, do you want to sell it? And he's like, no. It's like, you want to give it away? It's like, there's nobody really that I could give it away to.
For a few years, I'd actually thought, well, this car needs to go home. And so I had to try and find somebody I think I could challenge into taking this car back to Germany.
I was sitting with him and I was like, yes, pick me, I'll do it.
And so, well, we had a deal, over a glass of wine or a beer at And Union, we had a deal, yeah.
He came straight home to me, walked into my room, and he said, Max, we've got to drive through Africa. I was like, what?
The guy said, hey, do you want to take Percy back to Germany? Drive through Africa.
So I said, when are we leaving? And that was it. That was the start and the end, really.
We had a vehicle that we wanted to deliver to Germany.
17 countries.
We had given ourselves 3.5 months to do it. It's obviously a sedan car, low ground clearance, there's no 4x4 involved. None of us were mechanics. So we didn't know what was going to happen to us. We didn't know what was going to happen between us.
It was definitely an insane idea to begin with from the start.
Where we left from in Cape Town, we chose a road that goes along this place called Bainskloof Pass. I just remember that night, I was just chilling out on the roof, looking up at the stars, and I was like, this is day one, we're doing this thing. We've left, there's no going back, we're on the road.
We headed up towards Botswana. It was about 800 Ks, and then into the north tip of Zim, near Victoria Falls.
That was just such a magical experience to go there and experience this raw power of nature.
Zambia is quite a large country, and I think it took us 5 to 6 days to cross. The first time I got a glimpse of Lake Malawi was when we hit a peak going through a bit of a jungle-ish road, and there was this beautiful sunset and this massive expanse of water.
We were camping right on the beach. Monkey Bay was like a little holiday, man.
Percy did fantastically. It just went and went and went and started every morning. It was extraordinary, actually.
Giving Percy his name felt like the right thing to do.
It wasn't just a car, it became a part of who we were.
We wanted to be part of the crew. And in order to do that, you got to personify it. You got to give him, a name.
It wasn't just the Beamer or the 318 or Mike's car. It was now Percy, and it was part of this journey. So it was, I think it was cool. It was a great thing to do.
Tanzanian drivers are nuts. If you flash your lights first, you have the right of way. If you flash your lights first and the other car comes closer and it's bigger than you, then they have the right of way.
We saw 3 or 4 trucks overturned on the side of the road, some of them even smoking. And I think the buses played a sadistic game. They'd actually overtake cars knowing that other cars would veer off because the buses are bigger, faster, and have got people in them. In Tanzania, we met a lot of Maasai, and we wanted them to teach us how to jump.
There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into it. It's really fun. You wiggle your feet.
That was a fantastic and awesome experience.
It had been pretty much smooth sailing and fun all the way up until Nairobi. When we left Nairobi, the road from Marsabit onwards suddenly became incredibly rough. At that stage, I thought we had already entered into the Sahara Desert and the rest of the trip was going to be like this.
So, Ian, what do you think about the road?
We were only going 20 kilometers an hour. I suddenly said to myself, I don't think we're going to make the rest of the trip in the time that we've allowed.
We all got a bit itchy because whilst driving, this huge knocking started. And every bump, there was this huge clang. And our first assumption was one of the shocks is gone.
So there was nothing we could do. I mean, we had to get out the car and look around, and this is like free lion roaming territory.
Rowan and I actually got into a huge argument where we nearly got into a fist fight. Rowan was adamant that the car would last 8 hours a day and we could push it hard.
I think we both didn't give in. Myself and Ian are very opinionated, so I think both of us ended up the argument thinking that we were both right.
For us, physically, getting this car through there was the major challenge. That was probably the biggest sense of achievement that we had. Actually completing that 600k leg from Nairobi to Mayala border in Ethiopia, it took us 25 hours or something to do.
Every day, the car definitely reminded me of Mike. He had a little metal connection at the bottom part of the car where his updated hand controls fitted in. And it always used to get really hot because it was near the gearbox. And when you're driving barefoot, you used to sometimes slip your foot onto this metal thing and you'd burn your foot and you'd be like, this is Mike's car. And we were busy taking it on a trip and you'd be like, what? What are we doing here?
From North Sudan, we headed straight up into Egypt, which is actually where we were kind of adopted by a group of young Egyptian guys who just loved that we were there and we were interested in what they were doing. We played dominoes, we just had a lovely experience. And from there, we went all the way up to Haifa, and then that's where we got the ferry over into Europe.
Here we go, on foot.
There was a massive sense of achievement having crossed Africa, and it was about 3 months into the trip, and the end of Africa signified that we were definitely in the final chapters of our story. We arrived in Greece sort of early July. From Greece we moved up into Macedonia. So from Macedonia we went up into Serbia and then into Hungary, and then the final leg, hey, Austria to Germany, one day straight into Munich, boom.
I told Mike I would do this. I told Max and Rowan that they need to give up their jobs and a portion of their life to do this. There was just this immense weight off my shoulders.
Suddenly I realized, damn it, these guys are actually going to get there. I flew the whole night to get here, and this car drove here in 3 months. I'm so damn proud of you, man. It's a pretty cool thing to see that car just arrive in a city on another continent that's 10,000 kilometers away from where it started, and it drove there every single kilometer.
Hey guys, so here we are. We've made it to Munich, as you can see behind us. A little bit of BMW, just Percy, and we got some big beards to show off. This is how it goes.
We were originally planning to recycle the car, and they actually took us on a great tour through the recycling facility, and they did it with a BMW 1 Series.
It was quite incredible to see. They've got a machine that essentially rips the engine and gearbox out of a car, and
They dismantled this car in 15 minutes, where they actually gutted it like a fish. We all were just dumbstruck and quiet.
Mike was there and we were all just looking at each other thinking, gee, we really actually don't want this to happen.
No, not going to happen.
I don't know what happened there, if someone saw us and just, or whatever, someone had an idea somewhere and they just came up to us and said, guys, we actually really like your car. Would you mind if we kept it in the museum instead of recycling it.
Yeah, of course, for sure, man. That's where it's going to go. Yeah. I'm just so pleased that something done in a way so innocently as fun, can have an impact on people, Small things can become big things. That challenge that Ian said, okay, well, if I'm going to drive to Germany, you're going to get your flying license again, I mean, my goal with the airplane is to fly around Kilimanjaro with it. It was sort of just the push I needed.
If you knew him, you could see it was one of the biggest achievements he had done in his life.
And there it is, boom. Mike back in the air where he's meant to be. That's cool.